Hi, it is the Mosley Show. It's Monday, and man, do we have a lot planned for you today. And I'll get right to it. I mean, we're about 20 minutes away from the man who was the anchor for all the Big 12 coverage for ESPN. Kevin Connors is going to join us. He's also, Kevin, this is going to help us, Kevin Hoosier Hall, because he is the keeper of the mid-major top 10 in um, he does that at the beginning of the season. And when he started the season with his mid-major top 10, Kev, 6 of the 10 have made the field. 6 of the 10. I would say the only big glaring omission that he had looking back, and he got him added to it pretty quickly, but the Miami of Ohio Redhawks were not on that initial top 10. We won't hit him too hard on that, but and then we'll talk to him about some of the things the tournament doesn't have, like the Baylor Bears, sadly. And Baylor's going to be doing everything in the world to flip this thing in a hurry. They'll try to get Cam Carr to stay. Day 2, but I think when we had Ashley on last week, Kev, he gave it like a 30% chance that one of them would stay. I think Cam Carr would be the best chance, because you got to not only get him to stay, but get him to stay at your place, and get him to stay in college, and you got to pay him enough money that he would do that. And if you don't think somebody out there might pay Cam Carr a bunch of money, you haven't watched what BYU does and what they did to Rob Wright. Now, when they lost a key player in Richie Saunders, their season kind of fell apart. All right, so the $3 million plus the DeBonsa $7 million, whatever crazy number it ended up being, that's $10 million with 2 players. And Kev, I sent you something earlier today, and I thought you would find it very, very interesting. It was last year's operating budget, and there are some reasons. They had some things they had to pay out. And again, there are some explanation for it, but it was the operating budget. Somebody did one of those FOIA open records filings. And of course, some of the private schools like Baylor don't have to participate in that. But this guy gathered up all of we won't get too far into this, Kevin, but I did find that interesting that your Indiana Hoosiers had really by a wide margin the biggest operating budget going into, this was last season's, not this past that we just finished, that we're coming up on the tournament. I'm talking about the season before that. They blew everybody's operating budget away. That would have been with Mike Woodson. And again, there were some reasons for it, but Kevin, if you think that Indiana just decided to wake up and go, let's just put all our money in football now since we're so great, and now we won this national title, think again. At least last season's basketball program, Indiana was pumping huge money into that area. And the rest of it is about what you'd expect. Anybody trying to act like, oh, UT's poor, UT doesn't pump a bunch of money into its operating budget for basketball, think again. I think they were about 5th. They were about 5th in the country, all right? And I love this now, Kevin, this new, the guy finally retired, the AD at OU, Castiglione, Joe Castiglione, and he'd been there forever. And now OU wants to go around telling you how poor they are. Ooh, we're low. We're like not even the top 10 in the SEC in most of these sports. Listen, we know what OU football is. We know what it has been, what it will be in the future. Don't come around here telling us how poor you are, Oklahoma. And if you're poor in basketball, that's on you. That's on you. I mean, nobody's sitting around there saying, oh, poor OU. Poor Norman, they don't have any money down there. Nobody cares, okay? Nobody's going to cry any tears over what's going on with OU in that respect. Now, the brackets are out. I have written down a ton of things. Again, we're going to give you all the order of where you should think about all these mid-majors. One thing I'll tell you, they don't really consider Gonzaga because of Gonzaga's greatness. They don't consider Gonzaga a mid-major. You say, well, Matt, they're in the They'll soon be in this new Pac-12. They've been in the WCC. In the end, Kev, you got what, two MACs? You got two MAC bids. Talking about MACtion, you had three WCC bids. A10, I guess, just got the one, didn't they? Trying to think, but still, I mean, and somebody did us the favor of gaming that out, like what it would look like if they added 10 more teams to this thing. And if you think that it would get us more mid-major teams, think again. All it would do is create more play-in games, and oh my gosh, we would get Oklahoma State and Arizona State into the tournament. Oh, because they're great? No. Now, in some years, if it got Baylor in there, maybe I'd be like, oh, yeah, do this. Getting it to 78 would still not get the Bears in. All right? That's just the way it is. Bears finished with like 6-12 in the conference. Honestly, the way they were going, it was a decent finish, where it was going. And at the end of the season, they were going toe-to-toe with the Arizonas and UHs of the world. Does that make me feel better? Not much. I said to somebody the other day, Kevin, I said, Baylor, it was a disastrous season. It's not disastrous, they said. It was not a disaster. That's not, I don't know who was disagreeing with me. Was that Bryce? I don't know what's happening to Bryce. Bryce is about my age. He's getting very sentimental, and he did this huge story the other day, a column. It was a nice column, but it was kind of talking about how we should not take Scott Drew for granted. And if he has like 5 more of these seasons, it's okay. He should have a lifetime contract at Baylor. I mean, some of that's true. I agree with the sentiment of these people. I think it's idiotic. Anybody like, we need to have a conversation about Scott Drew. That's crazy. Okay. Scott, deserves the right to have one really bad season. Maybe 2. I don't know. But any thought that, he could have 5 more of these seasons because of what he did at Baylor. Come on now. You don't like change the trajectory of Baylor and make it this great basketball program and then make a statement that we could have 5 more of these. Now, I think what Bryce is trying to say, he knows that's not going to happen. And he's saying that Baylor will bounce back. But I just want the record, Kev, Scott, of telling you before you say this, that if Scott has that many bad seasons, even Scott would be saying, you probably ought to look at my future. Yeah. Goodness gracious. You cannot. Baylor's got to pull itself out of this. And 1, they got to do it with money. 2, they've got to do it with better portal. And listen, I looked at that operating budget, Kevin, that you put up on the screen a minute ago, and A&M was not killing everybody. A&M was not killing everybody that operated, and they had nobody back. They had to flip the entire roster, and what did they do? They went out there and made the tournament. All right, so I do not want to hear that Baylor is some kind of poverty program. Guess what? They paid Michael Ratai well over $1 million to come in here and flop around and do nothing and average 6 or 7 points a game and come off the bench. Over $1 million a year for Michael Ratai. So you've got to get this right. You've got to get this going again. Now, what are you going to say about the Baylor program?
I was just thinking that, if Scott Drew wanted some money in his budget, there's a school that is in the state where he came from that might have record of paying a lot of money to their basketball program if he decided to come home to Indiana.
You want to even
if Baylor's through with him, I think Indiana.
I don't think Baylor is, and that's why I think the reasonable minds, Kev, think about the fact that you and I talked about it recently. Louisville and Kentucky were both trying to hire him a couple of years ago. They were desperately wanting Scott Drew as their head coach. Did Scott forget how to coach? No. Does he need more help in NIL? Does he need more help when it comes to, evaluating talent. I mean, the thing that Ashley said that he and I agree on, and of course, Kevin, did you like how I let him say the name? I'd been hinting at who Baylor was after for a while, and everybody was very excited about that. And Ashley went ahead and said it, that Jake Lindsey was that name. And I want to remind you that Dennis Lindsey was the GM of the Jazz, and now with the assistant GM with the Detroit Pistons, has worked for the Mavericks, is rumored to be in consideration to be the Mavericks GM moving forward. I don't think that would happen until maybe July or something like that. I don't know exactly when something like that would happen. I would love for it to happen. I don't know if it will. He's got a great job in Detroit, but he's from Clute, Texas. It's where he grew up, and he's an incredible. He really is a great guy. Now Jake played for Baylor 10 years ago, and 8 to 10 years ago, and incredible young man. Has worked in the NBA, has been on the bench with Grand Canyon, with Scott's brother. I just think, and has worked with agents. He's now in the kind of insurance business, like medical insurance for players and all that kind of stuff, NIL related. He's got a lot of things. He's got a lot of tools that he's added, in addition to just being an incredible young guy. And I look forward. In fact, I'm going to try to catch up with him this week and touch base and just kind of see what's on his mind. So I look forward to that. And I can see why Baylor would be pursuing him. Here's what will happen. Okay, and again, I want to get into these brackets. And Kev, let's stay on top of me, even if you have to jump in. If I get to around 25 or 26, let's get out on time so we can get our guest. I do not want the famous Kevin Connors waiting for long while we do while we take care of our great partners. I do want to say thank you, CNB. Thank you, Central National Bank, for what you do, who you are. We appreciate you. And I was just talking last night. I got an email from Brian Fonville, one of the greatest, and love CNB, love our partnership with them. But Baylor has to get back to putting Scott is great at letting people do things and grow. And that's why so many of his guys get hired. He allows them to grow. He challenges them. And they get really good at things. I would say they've screwed up some stuff with with the way they do the portal. I think he relied too much on people to go out and grab some names and bring them to he and the staff. All right, the staff needs to get back to they need somebody that they can truly trust to do those things. I mean, Jason Smith has been the GM. And I think Jason's done a nice job. I think they've asked him to do too much. I think he's got as Ashley was talking about, he knows the agents. He's got a great relationship. He does a lot of really nice things for the Bears. Scott probably gave him too much say in sort of narrowing down who these players were they were going to look in the portal. It's got to get back to Scott and the coaching staff going out and making some major decisions. Now, I know how Grant McCaslin does it at Texas Tech. He does have a GM he trusts a lot. They do have this thought of, like, if there's any red flags with character, they just move on quickly, but they continue to hit on people. Now, when you have a bigger NIL budget, is it easier when you fail on a guy or miss on a guy? Like, they gave a bunch of money to Federico. Now, you remember Federico was with another Big 12 team, right? Where did Federico come from? Anyway, he comes into Tech, and quite honestly, he's been nothing more than like a role player for them this year. And they paid him a bunch of money. So they, in some ways, whiffed on Federico. Now, Lawan Watts, the kid Atwell that they brought in, they hit on their freshmen in the past. Anderson, they hit on Toppin, but he was a big item. He was a big ticket item. I have talked to coaches, assistant coaches, who tell me, what you can't do is let these mid-major kids be your lead horses. You've got to bring them in and let them complement different people. That said, I get that sentiment. Walter Clayton Jr. at Florida is the one who fueled everything for the Gators in that national title run. They had other great players, but he fueled it all. Where was Walter Clayton Jr. before he was at Florida? Well, look back. He was with, I think he was in the Patriot League or something like that. So you can have some lead dogs occasionally come out of these mid-majors. Where do you think JT Toppin came from? He didn't come straight from high school. He came from University of New Mexico. They gave him a bunch of money, and he stepped up, and for 2 years, he was a monster for Tech. Before that, it was another mid-major kid they brought in. And he was just and now his name is slipping my mind. They had a really good guy that did Toppin-like things, that could shoot the three, could go down low, had a little bit of a post-up game. So, I would say, here's what I would say. Tech, seemingly, and U of H the same, especially Tech, they seem to be better at knowing exactly what they're looking for. Where Baylor got lost this year was, Scott needs to have guards. Baylor's always at its best. They won the national title, and they had 3 unbelievable guards. 4 if you throw Flagler in there. All right? They had 4 unbelievable guards. Okay, you go back to Cherry, go back to Tweedy, go back to all the great Scott teams. Even go back before they started going to the tourney with guys like Gerald's and those guys. They just function. Scott needs to, and the staff needs to understand what Scott functions best with. Well, what happened this year? Well, their lead dog point guard gets taken away, and then they start trying to play catch up, and they miss on Agbum because he can't play point guard. Isaac was just supposed to be a complimentary kid, and they did a wonderful job with him, and he did a wonderful job with himself. By the end of the year, he was a functional point guard in the Big 12. In fact, really good. But at the start of the year, was not supposed to be who he was. So Bears missed out on guards. They had a couple of wings who could really play in the two in Carr and Tunde, really good. But unfortunately, they just couldn't really build around them, just didn't put much time. And they whiffed on Ratai. Ratai and Roach the year before, disasters. All right. Now, that year before, again, let's not try to act like Baylor's some kind of poverty program. They spent tons of money on VJ Edgecombe, Norchad Omir, and Jeremy Roach. Okay, how much did they spend on those 3 guys? 4 or 5 million? 4 million? 4 or 5 million on those 3 players. Edgecombe goes in the lottery. He's been great. I thought he was great for the Bears. People are like, I don't like one and done. I don't like one and done. Okay. Be careful what you wish for. One and done guys are kind of fun. Whew. Anyway, it's some bad luck. It's some bad injuries, and it's some bad evals. And they've got to get this thing together. All right. We will have the great Kevin Connors jumping on with us. Ooh, this will be good. I'm just getting an opportunity. Okay, great. There's some, we're giving Kevin a really good opportunity to do an interview. With somebody high up in the Baylor football program. So that'll be great. That would be great. So excited about getting that going for sure. I'm excited about kind of walking you through these the bracket. Kev, give people, if you wouldn't mind, just a peek at that bracket. And Kevin's going to do a really good job helping us with like our Big Ten. He watches a ton of Big Ten basketball. I think that'll be good. I think it's going to be difficult. I mean, I would say some people thought St. John's is underseeded. They end up Big East champs. They're playing great here at the end of the year. They had about 4 games ago, they had a hiccup, I should say. But Kevin's just racing through there. This is exciting. And Kevin, what we'll do later in the program, and we'll have Campus Confidential after we talk to Kevin Connors, but we'll kind of flash through here and we'll stop on some places, and I'll start kind of giving you some insight on some possible. Kevin, stop it right there. I'm going to start kind of giving you sneak previews on some picks you need to think about making. I would say your best upset picks are going to be those at 6-11 line. For whatever reason, the 11s historically do really good against the 6s. So if you're going to try to win some points in these brackets, I think you've got to think about it. But I would say right off the top, and Kevin's going too quick for me on one of those there you go, Kev. This is like doing a slideshow together. Kevin, go back to this. This is a PowerPoint. Kevin and I'll doing a PowerPoint with you. Akron is a scary team out of the MAC. Even before they won the MAC title, they were really doing some good things. Tech is without Toppin. I love McCaslin, and I think he'll find a way. But if you're dying to pick a 12 over a 5, that's a good one. That's a good one to think about. All right. We got Kevin Hoosier Hall with us. Kevin Connors, longtime SportsCenter host, does such an incredible job for ESPN. He joins us next.
Ready for a better kind of primary care?
At Patient First Direct Primary Care, you get unlimited office visits with same-day or next-day availability.
And instead of rushed appointments, we take the time to actually listen.
There are no insurance hassles, just clear, simple care.
You can reach us by phone or text because access shouldn't be complicated. Our practice has expanded to include Medicare-age patients as part of our direct primary care model.
It's a fresh alternative to the traditional insurance or government-driven systems, care that finally puts you first.
For more information, go to patientfirstdirect.com.
Okay, that was really great for the first time on your own. Let's maybe take a break and then we'll come back and do some more.
Sounds great.
Oh, you're back. That was a fast break.
I know.
Hi, would either of you be able to assist me?
Yes, she'd love to help.
Oh, yes. I love assists.
Central National Bank, proud partner of Baylor Athletics and Baylor Women's Basketball.
And pace.
It's the Restore Clarity Focus Patch, my little secret weapon for staying sharp, focused, and on task. Each box comes with simple instructions inside, so you always know exactly how to apply it. Each patch lasts for 3 days. I love that I can wear it all day.
But boy, it looked effortless.
Man, watch this.
Layups, floaters, threes. He was like an unsolvable equation.
I was born like this.
His resilience, his strength, his belief, adversity never stood a chance.
Know your power.
All right, it's Mosley. We got one Kevin with us. Kevin Hoosier Hall. Always available for okay, Kev, send it to him one more time. I don't know why this always happens, but I think they like to have it right at the top of their email. So please send it to him one more time, and we will see. Just double check that we have the right. Okay. I'm telling Kevin what we're doing here. I like to really pull back the curtain here and let everybody see us struggling along here. Kevin Connors, and just back from Kansas City, where he was. We'll have to ask him about the LED court and that everybody was slipping around on. Hope he's not trying to call. Oh, there we go. And give him time, Kev, just to kind of get situated there. This might be the new.
I wonder if he'll talk about the glass court, but also the ugliness of the other court that they brought in with all the X's and the ones and, Big 12 cannot get their court. Just don't do anything fancy.
This is a major college basketball guest. Let's not
hardwood,
try to bog him down.
Court. That's all we need.
With a bunch of court questions. All right.
Not the NBA All-Star game.
Where did he go? We had him there for a second.
Oh, I don't know.
I saw him in there.
Yep.
I guess I should have brought him straight on. All right, let's I'm just tell him I saw him for a second. Okay, we'll get him back on here. Kevin, you and our little soliloquy there, he may have just said, I do not want to talk about the court. I'm done. He's trying. I saw him. He was actually in the chat room. I was going to give him just 1 second to get situated there. And so hopefully we can get him rolling here. But I think it was working. This is Kevin Connors from ESPN. And Kevin, just as we were trying to get Kevin Connors on, it looks like we're going to have a major guest later this week involving Baylor football. That's exciting. I thought maybe I would get banned for a while since I kept the new quarterback a little longer than I was supposed to. That thing, Kevin, I think I kept it for like 33 minutes. But DJ, it's good to catch up with DJ Lagway. Always good there. But Kevin Connors, one of the great studio hosts, one of the great SportsCenter guys for ESPN, does such a nice job. And we had him on there ready to roll, and then we lost him again. So let's see if we can get Kevin, get him situated here. I know, knowing him, he's trying very hard, and something is not working for him. So I'll tell you what I'm going to do, Kev. I'm going to give you this is Kevin Hall. I'm going to send you his number so y'all can communicate and try to figure this out, please. And Kevin Hall, I just sent you his number. So maybe give him a quick shout or something to try to walk him through this. I mean, this man is major ESPN talent, but he's used to having, oh, wait. All right, there he is. Let's get him on. Kevin. without further ado. Let's bring him right up on screen. Yes. I mean, Kevin Connors, I saw you for a second, and people recognize you from all the things you do at ESPN. Oh, there it is. SportsCenter anchors, so many other things that you do. It's great to have you on. You're safely back. And I guess winter hasn't really ended there in the greater Bristol area, has it? Or are you still you appear to have like a sweater on or something? Still a little chilly out?
Matt, it is. First of all, SportsCenter anchor, college basketball and college football studio host, tech expert, not in the title. So my apologies. I just took the dog for a walk outside. We still have pockets of snow on the ground, but for the most part, snow is done. Cold weather is done. Now we get to enjoy rainy and dreary spring.
Oh man. So like the sun doesn't really come out until maybe end of April. But it can get a little pretty up there. And then the summer is when that's when you can bask in the glow of living up there and going to those creameries. They love those creameries there in around there, don't they? Up and down the roads. It's just everybody gets very excited about ice cream. And I used to be up there for those summits. It was back when blogging was a big thing, Kevin. You remember when everybody had a blog instead of a podcast?
Yes.
I'm sure you've had blogs in the past. And and by the way, what's this BYU gear about? I mean, I didn't know if you joined the church while you were there. They're really good at witnessing and doing all the things. I tried to witness one time to a Mormon, and that was they of course knew my stuff better than I knew it. I'm like, wait, what are you talking about?
Here's the connection.
Okay.
It's a decade ago. We had a Star of the Night segment on SportsCenter. I was looking for someone other than LeBron James who you could do on every night. I saw that this Utah Valley University beat BYU in basketball. Matt, I thought I've never heard of Utah Valley. That's got to be the greatest win of all time. Sure enough, they're a Division I program. Featured them on the air. Their coach was Mark Pope. They sent me more Utah Valley gear than they have in the bookstore there in Orem. Pope gets the BYU job, remembers this, hooks me up with BYU gear. The point is, Matt, I can be bought. It can happen.
Any Baylor gear in your house? Have you ever
None.
ended up, Scott Drew, nobody? That's bad on the Drew family.
Yeah. I am willing to share that I am a men's extra large. I will proudly wear some Sikkim gear. Give me something.
You look so thin on TV, XL only because of your height, I have to say. Was the tourney everything you'd hoped it would be? It was cut short I wanted you to go through all the games, but it's always fun. Boy, y'all have great chemistry. Even that guy, the former coach, Norm Roberts you do such a great job of even people that aren't used to doing that stuff, like Coach Roberts, like you really make them comfortable. And I think that's probably one of the great things that you bring to ESPN, but that had to be strange for him, having coached at KU all those years and then being at a place that KU sort of takes over. Would he seem a little bit like, was it a little bit weird for him to be in that kind of spot, commenting after so many years of coaching? It's always tough to go straight to the booth, I would think.
I think so. First of all, thank you very much for saying that. That means a lot to me, Matt. It's something I try to be good at. So to know that for you anyway, hopefully for a lot of others, that's the case. Thank you. I'll tell you this. We have brought in so many really good people in recent years, whether it's Norm Roberts or Kevin Keats or Josh Pastner or Steve Wojciechowski. Like, we've had some tremendous individuals who have come onto the set in recent years and joined us. And as far as Norm goes, it's always a trip. I mean, I guess it would be like going back to a house you lived in for 20 years. Like, hey, that's my house. Well, of course he's a Kansas guy. Of course he's got a connection to Bill Self and all of the players on that team. And it was neat to be in studio with him watching Kansas games because I'm a Syracuse fan. I'm a Buffalo Bills fan. When they're on, I root for them. What do you want me to do? Norm helped build that program or helped continue to keep it where it was. He's a phenomenal guy. But yes, there's definitely a little bit of rock chalk in him when he's on the air. There's no doubt.
Yeah, and I bet all season you were wanting to delve in as this Darren Peterson thing became more and more of a story. I bet he had to watch it because it's like he probably knew a few things that maybe he didn't feel comfortable sharing, but that's not always easy because you want to share with the audience as much as you can. Like Bruce Pearl probably shared too much, right? And he got a lot of backlash from it. Bruce probably has done enough TV in the past, though, to not care as much. I would think Norm would be a little more reserved. What do you think with the Darren Peterson getting there and being on the ground in Kansas City, being around him in the program and everything? What did you pick up on? It's like now he's playing more than he played throughout that large stretch of the season, yet the team's not really peaking. And it seems like they've basically run out of time, right? This ceiling that apparently they have, it doesn't feel like they're coming close to that. How'd you kind of see it, and what was it like, Kevin, being around the Kansas people and trying to kind of, because a lot of this season has been kind of awkward for them. What did you kind of learn about that situation?
I'll say something. If it's controversial, it's controversial. That is not my stock and trade. My observation, this is purely my observation, nothing that I talk to anyone about, purely my observation. I just wonder if Bill Self is not completely worn out by this. You're talking about a Hall of Fame coach who, if he's been anything over the course of his career, it's been a guy who knows what he has. I don't even think it's just this year, Matt. I think it's been the past couple of years where I think Bill Self has been worn out by it. And, this is just my guess. Nothing anyone has said to me, hand on the Bible. There's a reason that Mike Krzyzewski, Jim Boeheim, Jay Wright, Tony Bennett have gotten out because it's not what it used to be. Like, I wonder, and Bill Self may coach another 10 years. I'd bet against that. I wonder if it's just like, you know what? This is not what I signed up for when I became Bill Self. And I think Darren Peterson's a supreme talent. I'll tell you, the biggest takeaway I had from being at the Big 12 tournament, there is not a question in my mind that A.J. DiBonsa is the number one pick. I mean, in fact, if the conversation all year has been DiBonsa or Peterson, we've been having the wrong conversation. Because it should be DiBonsa and someone else, whether it's Cam Boozer or Darius Acuff. But I think you watch, and there were a ton of NBA scouts in Kansas City. And if they were watching the games that I was watching, there's no conversation. It's A.J. DiBonsa.
It's fun to watch him up close, isn't it? I happen to have like real close seats for the Baylor BYU game. Baylor held them to like 96 that night, I think, held them under 100. But the way he gets to his spots, he gets anything he wants. It was just a lot to ask him to just put the whole team on his back. And Rob Wright is good, but he's not a superstar good. And they just don't probably have enough. But boy, you're right. He's incredible. And these guys that are one and done, it is kind of cool to see. A lot of them actually do care about their team, right? It's not, I think fans sometimes go, they paid $7 million. He's a mercenary kind of thing. And yet, I don't know about Peterson, but some of these guys are way into it. And that's sometimes, I think, you get to see that sometimes up close, like how much passion. And when Cooper Flagg loses, like the emotion, it's not just, hey, this is someplace I'm just hanging out for about a few months. It seems like there's still, even in this crazy world where everybody gets paid so much, there's still a ton of passion and there's still the camaraderie that happens in the midst of all this nuttiness.
Everything you said is true, Matt. Listeners may say, oh, come on. I believe this to be true in the case of a guy like Darren Peterson. It is not easy. It's not easy being an 18-year-old kid who's hearing advice from mom and dad and family members and friends and coaches and agents and NBA people and who knows who else. It's not easy when you're being told all the time, if you have a hamstring, don't go and play in this game, because if you put a bad game on tape, then there are questions about you. You're better off sitting out, or you're better off not jeopardizing it, or God forbid you get hurt. I don't envy these kids in a lot of situations. I don't. As an 18-year-old, that is a lot to put on a young man. Yes, they're professional athletes now. I understand all that. I do think maybe we undersell the responsibility that these kids have. Now, having said all of that, it is a case study in Darren Peterson's case versus DeBonsa. Like, DeBonsa's out there all the time, and he wants to practice, and he wants to play, and he wants the ball, and he wants to play 40 minutes. And what's driven the Kansas people, I think, crazy is that has not been the case with Peterson. And then when you see the results and you see a 6'9" guy take a crab dribble from the three-point line and he's here this close to the rim, it's like, whoa. Yes, I think that's the best player in the country.
The LED floor, now it's not like you could come on and just blast it like, this is ridiculous. But it sounded like from your tweets, you kind of thought it was pretty neat. I mean, there were aspects of it, but boy, I knew immediately when I saw Anderson slip. I'm just like, oh, because it wasn't like it was a strange, it wasn't just like one of those just kind of, oh, it could happen to anybody. It just seemed like it was happening too much. Did you start noticing that kind of right away? Having watched all those games, you were there for the first, 3 or 4 days of that tournament. Did you immediately start seeing some issues with that court or not really?
Matt, listen, I'll be as transparent as I can possibly be. When we have the commissioner on, it's not going to be Frost Nixon, right? I'm not going to be holding his feet to the fire with, hardcore questions about, revenue share and stuff like that. I'm going to ask him questions that are germane to the conference, the tournament. I did not intentionally not ask him about whether or not you were hearing players saying they were slipping all over the place. I truthfully did not notice it more than on a wood basketball court. I've got zero responsibility to be a mouthpiece for the Big 12. My responsibility entirely is to ESPN and my journalistic integrity. I'll tell you this, I thought it was a cool looking court. I think the capabilities of it are really cool. I didn't play on it. And when Kelvin Sampson says our guys are slipping on it more than a wood court, I've got no choice but to say, okay, then we got to rethink this. But I personally, and I was sitting 15 yards away from it, I did not say, my God, this is a dangerous situation. And if I did, I would have said to Brett Yormark, can you tell me about what players are saying about the surface? And that, you can believe it or not, that I've got no affiliation or obligation to represent the Big 12.
All right. Your Kevin's mid-major top 10, you nailed it, man. 6 of the 10 at your first one you put together are in the tournament field. I will not really dial down too much on the one major one that did not make that top 10. But throughout the year, by the way, for people that don't know that you do this, you've been doing this for how long now? And is this your roots in what caused you to kind of go this direction? Because it's really fun, and it also, I know those mid majors love it because it's just like they're kind of on the outside until, and it almost becomes a negative thing until you got somebody saying, I don't care if they're 31-0. Auburn should get in before that team. So it's like they don't get attention. And then sometimes when they do, it's like negative attention. What caused you to start doing that? And it really has kind of taken on a life of its own, hasn't it?
I appreciate you saying that, Matt, so much. A lot of it had to do similar to the Utah Valley story. Like, hey, there are fan bases outside of Lexington, Kentucky and Lawrence, Kansas, and they're passionate too. And look at the all NBA teams over the past 10 years. It ain't all power four guys. It's Steph Curry from Davidson, and it's Damian Lillard from the school in Utah that's escaping me right now. Weber State. And it's, CJ McCollum from Lehigh, et cetera, et cetera. So it really was, hey, yes, we're talking about the big boys on ESPN every night. What about some of the other guys who are playing at a really high level, who we're going to get to know at some point? And yes, it was about giving love to the fans of those teams. Matt, I'll tell you something funny. I've actually gotten some pushback from teams who were saying, hey, wait a minute, we're not a mid-major here at San Diego State. Well, okay, of course, San Diego State's not a mid-major. It's never meant to have been anything other than a massive compliment, like, let me give some attention to teams who don't always get it.
Yeah.
There are exceptions, like, obviously Gonzaga is not a mid-major. Frankly, St. Mary's isn't a mid-major really anymore. It was really just more designed to be like, let's talk about teams outside the top 25. And there are some teams in this tournament, Matt, who are going to win some games.
Who's the next Todd Golden? Since you kind of watch these teams, rank them, a lot of these young coaches. Obviously, he's become a monster, and he was at San Francisco before he got to Florida. And I don't know what you think of the guy that's going to K-State. Is he coming in from Belmont, I believe?
Casey Alexander, I like him a lot.
Do you? Yeah, and he better look at that contract. By the way, they don't always honor their contracts, I'm told. Is there anybody that's out there, and who knows if they'll leave or not? But I'm thinking at places like St. Louis, Akron, all these places that are doing extremely well that you monitor, that you think, okay, is there a name or two you think this could be the next great college coach?
There are more than a couple. Yeah, I mean, look, Akron's John Gross, who was the coach at Illinois for a little while. I tend to think he's probably at the stage of his career that he's at. Might say, I've had a bite at the big time. I'm comfortable where I am. Previously coached at Ohio. Now he's the Akron coach. Travis Steele, obviously the phenomenal year Miami University had. I think he will definitely be someone who goes back into the Power Four mix. Randy Bennett, who's had so much success at St. Mary's for so long, does he bite at the Arizona State job, or does he say, I'm okay, and now we're going to be the big boys in the WCC with Gonzaga going to the Pac-12? Brian Hodgson at South Florida is a very hot commodity in this portion of the country. It appears to be Providence and Syracuse are in a bidding war for his services. I think he's another guy. A name that you could throw up there with Todd Golden. Look what Ryan Odom has done at Virginia this year. They had an incredible year at Virginia. He came from Utah State, where his replacement, Jared Calhoun, is going to be a very, very big name. So that's the other amazing thing about that level, is that, even coaches who will not be getting big time jobs right now, there are some incredible coaches at the mid-major level who, for whatever reason, maybe their team didn't win a championship, or maybe they're not the right fit, or James Jones, Matt, is a guy at Yale who, how he has not gotten a big time job, I'll never know. And look, there are worse places you could be than Yale University, and having financial people manage your money there. There are so many really good coaches, but a couple of the ones we just talked about, I think Brian Hodgson, Jared Calhoun from Utah State, those would be two that jump off the page.
Okay, any of these games like that 12-5, Texas Tech, Akron, for our listeners that are starting to look at 11-6s, the 12-5s, if you want to get really risky, you look at that 13-4. You do see those things happen from time to time. What jumps out at you with some of these teams that you think could come from some of those seeds and make some noise in this tournament?
I am as big a Grant McCaslin fan as there is. I think Texas Tech is beyond vulnerable right now. The Toppin injury, now the Christian Anderson injury. They rely so much on the three, which of course can take you a long way, or it could mean an early end. And I do really like this Akron team. I thought that they were the best team in the Mid-American Conference all year. And I know I'm including Miami University in that. I thought Akron was the better team all year. And as it turns out, of course, they won the Mid-American Conference tournament. They've got a superstar on the team named Tavari Johnson. He averages better than 20 points a game, fourth-year senior, all 4 years at Akron. I think Akron can win a game or two in the NCAA tournament. I like High Point a lot. Hey, Kev, what's High Point? Well, High Point is a small school from the Big South that won 30 games this year, and they put a lot of money into that program at the level that they're at. They've got a first-year coach by the name of Flynn Clayman, who has done a fantastic job. They've got a dude named Terry Anderson who went for 31 in a game earlier this season. They've got a Florida State transfer, Cameron Fletcher, who is a former Power 4 conference player. I think High Point is another dangerous team. I don't think Northern Iowa beats St. John's. And what's the other 5-12? I think McNeese could win a game. They played in the Southland Conference this year. Stephen F. Austin's another Southland Conference team. McNeese won a non-conference game against George Washington, who had a pretty good year out of the A-10 this year. Obviously, McNeese with Will Wade had a tremendous run last year. I think McNeese is another team as a 12 seed that could win a game.
I love that. I used to hang out with the old Southland commissioner. That man's name is Greg Sankey. I used to go to lunch back in the day, and he was the most unassuming, sort of just kind of normal. Let's go over here to Jason's Deli, maybe get us a grilled cheese sandwich, maybe some broccoli cheese soup. And it's all, isn't it wild when those people that you're just like, well, this is a great guy, I like this guy. But 20 years later, they're just like this monstrous, it's interesting to watch those things happen. Kev, I could do this all day, and you may feel like I already have, but I want to let you get going. I mean, I don't know what ESPN has in store for you this evening. They like to get you on the set, and they like to keep you there for several hours. And by the way, who of all your college football and all the basketball, who's the funniest? Like, who's the person when the lights go off? Now, you may have people that are better on air than, whatever, but like Crean seems like he's kind of a big personality. You got a lot of guys I'm thinking about football wise. Pastner was going nuts, by the way, the other day. I guess they won a game, and he kind of and I thought, my gosh, I mean, I'm not saying he didn't bring energy to the set, but that was kind of a different level of, that was almost like, wait, what's happening here? Like, why is it's almost like he's kind of losing it a little bit. Who's the funniest person that you, that you work with? Would you say, like, even just off the air stories they tell and that kind of thing?
I'll answer that in 1 second. I'll tell you this about Josh. If I did not know Josh Pastner and I watched that clip, I would say, I think we got to pee in a cup. I'm just being honest here. I think we need to get to the bottom of this. But because I know Josh, not only is he the polar opposite of that, the pay in a cup part, he is as authentic and genuine an individual that I've ever met. It's like Josh Pastner and Mark Madsen are two guys who you're like, they can't be serious with as nice as they are, but it's genuine. So that is the truth about Josh, and he's as authentic as it gets. The funniest is Sean Farnham. He's a hilarious guy. He is as bubbly and effervescent as my 7-year-old son. And I think he is as good an analyst as we have. So I would answer that when you first started posing the question, I said, you can stop here. Sean Farnham is the answer.
I love that. And I'm sorry you didn't mention Army's finest in there. Well, I miss you getting to do those games, by the way. You had one season where you got to go out on the road, and we're at Farrell Center. And I hope to get you to Foster one of these days, man. You would love that. Maybe if the Bears come back to prominence, we can lure you to Waco. But hey, thank you for doing this. Oh, who is your pick to win it all?
My final four, and unfortunately, I joked around last night on the air. I said I'm not going with Furman, Penn, Hofstra, and Hawaii with my final four to keep on brand. My final four is St. John's, Florida, Arizona, Iowa State, and I really flipped a coin between Florida and Arizona. The true story. I went on with Adam Shine in early January. He said, give me an under the radar team that might win the championship. I said, I don't know if the defending national champions count as under the radar, but I think it's Florida. And of course, they've had a phenomenal year for once I get it right. I did pick Arizona. So I've got Arizona beating Florida in my championship game. But I think it could be either of them. And I think that both of them, neither one of those are terribly exciting going with one seeds, but that's my biggest takeaway too from the Big 12 tournament, Matt, quickly, is that like there's a lot of really good, and then there's the next group. And I think that the next group is a lot better than everybody else.
And who is your lowest seed to make the Sweet 16?
I've got Akron. I've got St. Mary's, both in the Sweet 16. I think, and I like Houston, but I got a little bit off their bandwagon at the end of the year. I think that I remember the name Paulius Morauskas on St. Mary's.
Okay.
And they can make you play a style that you don't like. And I just wonder, and Morauskas is a big, I just wonder, boy, Houston really, really misses the big from Juwan Roberts from last year.
Yeah.
And like, Matt, they were playing in the Big 12 tournament. They were playing through JoJo Tugler. And I'm like, I don't know that that's his game. We'll see.
All right. I really, Akron and St. Mary's, if they make it, they need to be wearing T-shirts like that say, KC's top 10. They need to have, we need to have some branding. All right. But listen, I appreciate it. Great to catch up with you, and cannot wait to kind of watch you throughout the tournament, and then keep your eye on today's announcement this afternoon, the real announcement that people care about. The crown tournament, the Baylor Bears. Okay. Okay.
Matt, it's awesome to talk to you, man. Anytime. I enjoyed this. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much. There he goes, Kevin Connors from ESPN. You see him on SportsCenter. He hosts all the basketball, the football, and he's really their top guy. And honestly, he's their most versatile because he can kind of do it all. And I'm sure he has to work more than everybody else because he is so versatile. But he also is passionate. He played college basketball for, let's say, like Ithaca. But that may have been, I don't know if it's D2, D3, but very, very talented guy and a fun guy to have on. And Kevin, I hope you were writing some of that down. He gave you, that's pretty awesome, Akron and St. Mary's to make the Sweet 16. Now, is he a little biased because he is such a top 10 mid-major guy. Yeah, but he also knows those teams better than most, better than Billis and some of those other people. So find that very, very interesting. All right, Kev, we'll delve more into now. By the way, at 2:30, we'll try to get into some NFL. We do have a trade that's gone down, and we'll help you on some news otherwise. But let's get back into the brackets, and let's do some Campus Confidential. Let's do it next.
Enjoy a quiet atmosphere with beautiful river views at the Brazos Landing, located in Waco along the Brazos River across from McLean Stadium. Enjoy homemade dishes like shrimp and grits, chicken piccata, braised short ribs, prime New York steaks, and more. Plus, enjoy a delicious dessert like creme brulee or key lime pie. Open for lunch and dinner Tuesday through Sunday. Brazos Landing in Waco, the only place where I-35 and the Brazos River meet.
Lake Waco Golf Club is a semi-private facility nestled along the north point of Lake Waco, one of the few facilities in Texas to have a full 18-hole regulation golf course as well as an executive 18-hole par 3 golf course. Plus, check out their bar and grill, which is open to the public. And if you're not a golfer, then enjoy time by the pool or even enjoy fishing around Lake Waco. Become a member today and call to book your tee time. Lake Waco Golf Club, where family and friends fun begins. Check them out at lakewacogc.com for more information. Protect your online privacy with NordVPN. Browse securely, access content from anywhere, and keep your data safe with military-grade encryption. NordVPN.com. That's NORDVPN.com. Welcome to Kitbag, the ultimate destination for football fans. Whether you're cheering for Arsenal, Chelsea, Manchester United, or any other top club, for true football passion, think Kitbag. Visit kitbag.com today. That's KITBAG.com. Kitbag.
Our patented handles were launched in 2018. We continue to push the boundaries of strength training. Join us in making your training more natural and effective. Visit Engels90.com to learn more and revolutionize your workout.
We offer fast shipping, exceptional customer support, and furniture solutions that stand up to high traffic environment. Elevate your space with BizChair's vast selection of stylish, reliable, and cost-effective furniture. Visit us today at bizchair.com to transform your business.
Circulon C1 Series Clad with Scratch Defense Non-Stick. Maximize cooking, minimize cleaning. Discover the unmatched durability and elegance scratch-free, worry-free, forever.
At Tusain's, we understand that maintaining a healthy lifestyle can be challenging, especially in today's fast-paced world. That's why our mission is to make fitness accessible to everyone, anywhere. Visit Tusains.com today and start your journey to better health. That's TOUSAINS.com.
Farmhounds offers natural treats and chews made with quality products that support family farm, regenerative agriculture, and humane farming practices. Give your dog the best with wholesome, organic ingredients that promote health and happiness. Shop now at farmhounds.com.
All right, Mosley, back with you. And it's gotten chilly. I don't know what's doing. I'm in the Metroplex today. I don't know what's doing in Central Texas, but I imagine it's also a little chilly there. And yesterday was just the blustery. I had part of my fence blew down. My gosh, it's showing 43 degrees. What's happening? We've reverted back to old man winter. I mean, when are we going to get out of this? I don't like this. I thought we had already transitioned to
I have no idea what to wear.
What is today? Is today Monday?
Today's Monday. Yesterday it was 91 and windy, and today
yesterday was windy beyond belief. We will get up we'll reach the 60s tomorrow, partly sunny. So that's good, at least in the Dallas area. And I assume that would be the same for Central Texas. Today, high of about 5 o'clock, it'll peak out about 51. That's not what I like. I'm just sitting here today, just running around in my shorts, looking like an idiot. People are just like, what is it? The guy doesn't have it sense to put on some pants?
This meteorology report is brought to you by our friends at, I don't know, Take your pick.
On the 5s, on the 8s. Mosley Weather on the 8s. Man, you see what I'm talking about, Kevin? Right? Why I like having Connors on? He's just a great dude.
Yep.
And he's one of those guys when people see him, right? They're like, "Oh, yeah, that guy."
That
you
guy,
know,
yeah.
he's on. You know, he's very, very good at his job, and they work him like a horse. He never complains. He's just got the greatest attitude. It's just hard to find. There's not a lot. There's a few of them, but there's not a lot of people in Bristol without egos. He's one of them. He's one of them, and he gets a kick out of, because I'm always taking pokes and, you know, in the way that I do, kind of goofing on people, and he gets a big
like
kick
the
out
creamery,
of that.
like the creamery thing,
creameries, whatever. But usually it's about one of his fellow people who he's so nice to. He does not have an enemy, but whoever's on with him, I'll take a little poke or swipe, and he does find it funny. But you heard him. He likes Farnham's humor. He thought he likes the authenticity that Pastner brings to the table. All those years ago, Kevin, I think I've told this story recently. Memphis, after they lose in the national championship game to Kansas, and Kentucky comes and hires Calipari. And Memphis needs a new coach. And Memphis turns to a guy that had really started to crank things up in Waco, Texas. They turned to a young Scott Drew. Was Scott Drew interested in Memphis? I think so. I mean, at the time, it was a way better job than Baylor, although he was starting to turn the Bears around. They instead decide to hire a young Josh Pastner. Now, he may have been on the coaching staff for Memphis, I kind of forget, but they hired Pastner, and the rest is history. Scott goes on to win a national title at Baylor, and Pastner's had 3 or 4 more jobs since then, and not because he's killing it at all the other jobs. He went to Georgia Tech, then he went somewhere else, then he went around anyway, and then he always ends up back in the studio. Now he is at UNLV, and maybe he'll do a fine job there. I do not believe UNLV is in the tourney. So there's that. Now, I thought that was good, though, Kev, because, man, he shared with you, he's got Akron and St. Mary's in the Sweet 16. Well, I already have people asking me what to do. Now, we'll do Campus Confidential. We'll wait and do it at like 2:30, 2:35. All right, we'll do some other things, and if that's okay with you, Kev, we'll wait and go straight into it, and that's when Kevin will kind of lead us through some things. Kevin, let's get people updated. Justin Fields has a new team. Stop me if you've heard this one before. All right, people thought, oh, man, how will he be with the Jets? Well, not very good. Not very good was the answer to that. Well, was it his fault? Maybe not. Maybe so. Whatever. He's good. He runs around. He's an exciting young man. He does. I would not say he's a man that's going to lead you to a lot of wins. The Kansas City Chiefs have traded for Justin Fields. They sent a 2027 6th-round pick to the Jets. You might say, well, why don't just wait till they cut him? Well, I don't know. Maybe they wanted him. He wanted to continue his career in Kansas City, although other teams were interested in acquiring him. The Jets acquired Geno Smith in a trade with the Raiders to be their starter in 2026. The Jets are going to pay $7 million of Fields' $10 million 2026 guaranteed salary, a source told ESPN. So Kansas City will pay the remaining $3 million. And then the Jets will pay 3.3 while the Raiders are paying him. Okay, we're talking about Geno Smith now. Raiders are paying him 16.2. So everybody's getting other people to pay for their quarterbacks. Same as the new quarterback with the Vikings. Kyler Murray still getting paid. He'll be on the hook with the Cardinals, okay? I mean, these teams we say, oh my gosh, this GM was a smart guy. Smart guy. They end up doing these quarterback contracts. And then within a year or two, they're like, oops. I mean, did we think when the Cardinals did that huge deal with Kyler? That's what's crazy about quarterbacks in this league. Kev, there's always this thought that you like have to do it. Like, well, here he is. He's reached this point. Well, we better do a big deal. Okay, well, Pete wants Geno over here with the Raiders. We better pay him, like $30 million this year. Same thing with the Arizona. Well, we don't love him, but we don't really have any other alternatives. So let's do a deal where we pay him, I don't know. What do you say? Like 25 to 35 million a year. Does that sound okay? Okay, good. The Dolphins are like, we don't love this guy. He's always got concussions. We're probably, he does not seem like a guy who will be here even 3 years from now. But we probably ought to go ahead and do this deal for 40 or 45 million a year. Really? Okay. And almost always those deals blow up in your face. How many teams that are paying a quarterback in the neighborhood of 45 to 60 million dollars are truly happy with their quarterback? Well, Jerry Jones seems to be with the Cowboys. Obviously, the Chiefs are with Mahomes. The Bills are with Josh Allen. And Buffalo is with Lamar Jackson for the most part. I know they probably have their moments where they're like, really? Why did we do this enormous deal? So I've named 4 teams. Burrow stays hurt. When he's healthy, he's incredible. So they probably still feel okay about that deal. There's 5. I would say there's no way the Chargers feel great about paying Herbert huge money, even though he's really looks good and at times he looks great. But what does he do in the playoffs? He does not get it done. I would think the Seahawks right now feel great about whatever they're playing Darnold, and the Patriots will feel great about what they're getting ready to pay Drake May because he almost won the MVP. All right, Kev, just off the top of my head, I named like 6 or 7 quarterbacks that people are happy to pay huge money. I would also have to add the guy, Caleb Williams in Chicago. Now that he has been with him, Ben Johnson, the new head coach there, I would say they'll feel fine about paying him huge money. Golf.
If you follow the recent money, you would have to say that the Colts are very pleased with Daniel Jones and happy to pay him because they
Yeah, but fans like you don't like it. Fans like you don't love paying him, whatever it is. 40,
we're talking about the organization.
$40 million a year. I know, but I'm talking about like fans that feel okay about loading up with these huge quarterback deals.
Gotcha.
I think you run out of players. Like, I think the Commanders are going to be fine paying.
You don't think the Niners are okay with Purdy?
Ooh, I just did it. I think the fans are kind of like, I think they ebb and flow with that one. Probably okay with it, but probably like, wait again. We're paying this guy 40-something million, who's honestly, I think the thought with him would be it's more the system than the quarterback. Who else am I missing? Oh, Jalen Hurts. I mean, he was Super Bowl MVP. He's like one season removed from that.
Yep.
And yet I guarantee you their fans aren't thrilled with him right now.
You know what fan base is extremely ecstatic about paying their quarterback whatever they want to. They even have a chant for him. It's Jared Goff.
Yeah, I said Goff a second ago, but we were I know I just kind of barely made it in. I think so, but they didn't even make the playoffs this year. Those things can turn in a hurry. Now, I should say
this is the first year without their offensive and defensive coordinator, though, right?
Yeah, but I need to include Stafford. I think whatever huge amount they pay him, I feel like they think it's worth it. And that's the FDM picks team that just keeps trading for and paying big time corners. They've decided, you know what, we're pretty dang good on offense. We love our quarterback. We got this idiot receiver who's half drunk, but he's great. Like if right now, if you got to say the top 5 wide receivers in the NFL, I'd have to put Nakua in it, right? But now he's an idiot. I always kind of think BYU quarterbacks, because of the very nature of where they play, players. Let's just call them BYU players.
Okay.
I feel like they're safe. They're sort of idiot proof because of where they go to school and all the trouble they could get into if they acted like idiots in Provo. But this guy got off that campus and went to acting like an idiot. All right. Now, has BYU over the years had idiots? The answer is yes. One of them is Jim McMahon. All right. So you got to go back about 40 years to when Jim McMahon was playing on that campus. But they have had idiot players. I mean, I guess one you'd have to say is that quarterback who, I don't know, again, they never proved any of those allegations, but he got kicked right out of school. And I'm talking about Retzlaff. I wonder what happened to Retzlaff. Is he like trying to get drafted? Jake Retzlaff, former BYU quarterback. Who is the best returning quarterback, or not returning, but who is the best quarterback in the Big 12 heading into the season? And I think the answer would have to be Sorsby, because he didn't leave the conference, but he went over to Texas Tech. And I do believe he becomes the odds-on favorite to be the best quarterback in the conference. Now, who's number 2? I don't know. I think you could have a good discussion about that. Bachmeier at BYU. Arizona State brought in somebody interesting whose name escapes me right now. All right. Kevin, we are going to have some pretty cool stuff to share with our people involving Kalshi. And I think we're going to have like a bracket soon that we can share with some of our listeners that I think they're going to really enjoy. And so I'm anxious to receive it. Kevin, before we go to break and get ready for Campus Confidential, though, let's talk a little bit more about the brackets. Now, Kevin, when we get to Campus Confidential, I do want you to bring up this marijuana arrest. And first of all, what's going on in Tuscaloosa? Like, don't they love their team? Like, how are they doing raids right before the brackets come out? And like the second best player on the Alabama team, they do a raid. They do a drug raid. Do they not know how to protect their own? My gosh, I don't know what's happening. Kevin, I will tell you that Jay Billis, who was sent out to Kansas City to call the semifinal and the final, and then was raced to Nashville to call the SEC final. I mean, this man, I'm surprised CBS didn't try to bring him in to do the Big Ten final. Jay Billis has now predicted every game of the 2026 men's NCAA tournament. All right. If you care about that, that is leading the website right now. Boy, get somebody to love you as much as ESPN loves Jay Billis. And then they'll put him like on an NBA game. It's like there's literally nobody out there like, I want to hear Jay Billis on an NBA game. No, we want to hear the people who do NBA. Like if you want to put Barkley on there, sure, because he's an NBA guy. But nobody's like dying to hear Jay Billis. But boy, in ESPN's mind, what they think should happen is Jay Billis should be on right now 24 hours a day. I used to, this time of year with the brackets and all, I would get offered in Dallas radio Jay Billis. And it was always interesting because no matter what I would ask, something would bother him. And then he'd get kind of salty, which I don't really care. I like that a little bit, honestly. Okay, Kev, start to show me though some of these brackets. And I thought that was fascinating. Our guest earlier today, Kevin Connors, man, he likes He really likes St. Mary's, and he likes Akron. And remember, Akron and Texas Tech are playing in that first round. He's got Akron getting all the way to the Sweet 16. He also has St. Mary's getting to the Sweet 16. Kevin, can you move that up or take off C&B for a second? I just want to see. Okay. It's a little bit scary that Kansas has to play Cal Baptist. That's a team. Cal Baptist is out of the. Where are they out of? The A-Sun? I always forget where everybody's from. Sun Belt. Where did Cal Baptist? Anyway, obviously they won their conference tournament, and so they get in. This is a scary little game for Kansas because I saw that Cal Baptist, the look of that team, and they came in and played Baylor a few years ago, and I want to say that maybe like Scott Drew's had a nephew or a cousin or something playing for him back in the day. They now have gotten to the point where they're a little bit scary. I'm not going to pick them over Kansas, but watch out here a little bit. Now, this game between Ohio State and TCU interests me greatly. Kevin, you know that Ohio State has that one player. What is his name, Kevin? That's like the top scorer in the history of Ohio State because he's been there. I mean, most players these days don't stay at a place that long. He has. That guy is – I think Ohio State's scary. And now, would they scare Duke? Only because Duke – I mean, they got Boozer, and Cam Boozer is awesome. All right? And they've got Evans, and Evans is awesome.
Bruce Thornton.
Bruce Thornton. God. That guy's been there. He scores a ton. And I think Ohio State kind of comes at you in waves. And I don't like, to me, when I look at those Big Ten teams that are in this tournament, the only ones I would say are just way ahead of Ohio State, and they may not even be that far ahead of Ohio State, is you got to say Michigan. And I, like, for instance, if Illinois was playing Ohio State in the first round, I don't trust Illinois. Now, the metrics, the numbers people love Illinois because 4 of their 8 losses were in OT, and they think their metrics far outrank their record. And so they think some of those OT losses were fluky and that Illinois is really good. I like Michigan State more than Illinois. I don't like them more than Michigan. I like Michigan State more than I like Purdue. And you say, well, Matt, Purdue just won the Big Ten Conference Tournament. They did, but Kevin, I think we need to remind people that as great as that March was early in the season for Purdue, where they won like 18 straight games, I mean, they were really, really good, right? Kind of like that unbelievable run Nebraska had. But they also then went through a patch where they were 6-7 in the meat of the Big Ten schedule. And Purdue was losing to inferior teams, all right, including, Kevin, I believe, the team you love so much, the Indiana Hoosiers might have been one of those teams.
Yes.
So, Kevin, of the Big Ten teams, and obviously they're number 1 seed, so we can't say, I don't like Michigan. But like Michigan has just kind of, I'm just trying to get a feel for it. They lost that one guy to an ACL who's a great 3-point shooter off the bench. Okay, they didn't lose a top-end level player, but they did lose a guard that can shoot. But Lindeborg and all these dudes, I would say the thing that scares me about Michigan is that point guard turns it over a ton. All of them, for some reason, they love a good behind the back pass. And they love kind of putting on a show. And so there were moments this season where I really could have made an argument. Michigan is the best team in the country. And they were. I think they were. But they're not right now. I don't love – it's like Cadeau is one of those guys. He's flashy. He's not a great scorer. Sometimes he's too flashy. He would scare me late in games. Kev, where are you on – like, how superior is Michigan to those other Big Ten teams like Michigan State, Illinois, and even as far down as Ohio State? How much better are they at their best?
Right. I would think that all you'd have to do is look at the Big Ten championship game and see where the teams are right now. And Purdue is hitting a good stride at the right time, and they have experience on their side with Braden Smith and Trey Kaufman-Wren and Fletcher Lawyer. Those guys have been in that program with Matt Painter their entire career, as we've talked about, can be difficult these days. But then I would, if I had to put my money on the best Big Ten shot to make it, I hesitate to say this because Purdue is hitting a stride, but Illinois is a sneaky good team with Wagler, and they have basically all of Eastern Europe wrapped up on their team, and so they can.
You're right.
Those guys, those guys can beat you from the outside, or they can beat you on the inside. And so any way you want to, like, Michigan hangs its hat on defensive rebounding and guarding the rim, and Michigan State is going to bank on Fears doing crazy Fears stuff and Carr playing above the rim. Does that make sense? I think that a lot of these teams bank on, especially in the Big Ten, bank on a certain imposing their will, and unfortunately the tournament is not necessarily about that, especially when you're more of an upper echelon team. You can get some of these higher seed teams that can do that for a game or two, and that's why you can see success in that way.
I think you can make an argument. As you were talking about it, I started thinking about this. In the past 3 or 4 years, if you think, who are the best hires in college basketball? I mean, how do you, and I think the tight shirt man at Iowa State was an unbelievable hire. But Otzelberger, I think Dusty May, how can you not say, I mean, in his own way, obviously the Indiana thing with Signetti, it's on our mind because that was just unreal. And so that becomes the greatest hire of the past 25, 30 years, maybe ever in college football. But when you look at college basketball, let's not act like Michigan was that great under Juwan. And Beilein had his moments and did take them to a Final Four, at least one that I remember. But Michigan had kind of been, not maybe to Indiana's point, but Michigan had been out there flopping over a period of like 15, 20. Beilein had good moments there. I will say that. Better moments than like Indiana had with Cream. But Dusty May is a monster.
Yep.
And you just never know about those hires, do you? Like, why didn't somebody go hire San Diego State's coach? They were in the same Final Four that Dusty was in with FAU. I don't know why some work and some don't. Part of it is, and by the way, I think the San Diego State coach still good. Dutcher, is that his name? Dutcher. Brian Dutcher. Some of those guys that were on bigger staffs and then go mid-major are the ones that work out the best. I'd like to go look, and I'll do it at the break, but I'd kind of like to look at where Todd Golden was, before he went to take that job at San Francisco. I think the guys that are at,
I think he was an assistant with Pearl at Auburn.
There you go. There you go. That's
kind of like Signetti was an assistant with Saban.
Yeah,
before he left to go be a coach
I'm with you. But
prove
there
that
was
you
a
can do it.
long period of time.
Yeah.
Like with a guy like Golden, he goes to San Francisco and is probably only there for 3-4 years, something like that. I promise you, Bruce Pearl wants to come back. And he wants to, but it all makes, you think you're setting up your son. It's like Kelvin Sampson thinks he's setting up Kellen, and he's got all the right intentions. And Kellen, I hope Kellen does a nice job. But you're like, Bruce didn't mean to do this, but Bruce just screwed his son over completely. He wasn't ready. Bruce was still at the top of his game, and Bruce just was like, I think I'm done. I think I'll take a check to be an ambassador at Auburn while taking a check from CBS, and I'll give my son a job. I'll get him a job. Auburn will give him one more season, and if he has a similar season, he will be done. I wish coaches could understand that. They're not, like Snyder was always angling at K-State to get his son a job. Same thing. R.C. Slocum had a son, Sean Slocum, at A&M. And there was always that path where they're trying to set their kids up. Man, that's an honorable thing to want to do. But in doing it, you don't always end up helping your kids. Kevin, this is like a Mosley PSA for people to not just hand things to their kids. All right. Go let them earn it. Like, I think Kellen Sampson would have been better served to go take one of those mid-major jobs and see if he could pull a Golden or be really good somewhere and then come back. I think being handed the Houston program is not going to be great for him. By the way, earlier today, Kev, just one more college basketball nugget. Then we'll take a break, and then we'll do some Campus Confidential, and then Kevin will go over all these things. Memphis retaining Penny Hardaway. Hardaway went in there, made a case, begged for his job, and he's just enough of a superstar name and persona to be able to pull that off. He'll be canned. He won't even make it to midseason if they get off to a bad start next year. I mean, again, they beat Baylor this Baylor season. I guess they're going to announce maybe this afternoon they're going to be in this crown. Part of me just wants it to be over and let them start focusing on, setting up the next thing, getting the next team together. Kev, let's do some Campus Confidential. Let's do it next.
Streamline event and appointment booking with Amelia's sleek, modern, and fully customizable booking forms. WPAmelia.com. That's WPAMELIA.com. Amelia. Nalgene Outdoor has been your trusted companion, fueling adventures and helping protect the planet. We're committed to reducing waste, improving access to clean water, and providing simple, safe, and sustainable products for you and your family. NALGENE.com.
A house is a property, but we live in homes. Home sweet home. Homes where the heart is. We aim to deliver the best home buying and selling experience so you can spend less time real estating and more time living.
WhyPersonalLoans.com. Request a loan anytime. Our partners can offer loans up to $35,000 with varying rates and terms. Review your loan offer with no obligation and decide what works for you. Visit PersonalLoans.com today.
This is what $500,000 in a duffel bag looks like. Actually not real. That's because it's actually prop money. It looks realistic from a distance, but up close you can see it says for motion picture purposes. Visit PropMoney.com today to get your money seen or money shot right with Prop Money Inc.
With San owning iconic furniture no longer requires paying a premium. With over 15,000 satisfied customers worldwide, we've proven that high-quality furniture doesn't have to come with a high price tag. Explore our collection today at sarn.com.
The U-Like Air 3, launched in 2023, ushers in a new era of sapphire ice cooling technology, offering nearly painless hair reduction in just 3 weeks. That's ULIKE.com. U-Like.
VivoSun's mission is to empower growers with stylish and effective products, making indoor growing accessible and enjoyable for everyone. Visit vivosun.com today and get started making growing plants and vegetables easy and automatic.
All right. I just saw this, Kev, as we get ready. Let's do some campus. Let's do some campus confidential. Very excited. There it is. There's the graphic that everybody loves. And this is an exciting time. And Thursday and Friday, we're going to be like the rest of you guys. We're going to be watching all these games. Kevin and I are figuring out exactly how we want to handle it because, we're like the rest of you. We just like to post up on the couch or at the bar or wherever and just watch games. And I really don't want to be, I had that idea about like sort of being mic'd up while I was doing it, but I just want to watch. I don't want to be mic'd up, to be honest with you. But, we can't all, we'll do what we need to do. We'll do whatever we're asked to do, Kevin. I mean, we work for a company, I believe. All right, Kev, I was telling you about, I think Baylor, I wish almost Baylor would just, shut the season down. The Wyoming coach said, we will always accept an invitation to the NIT. If we don't ever get an NCAA automatic qualifier bid or an at-large bid in March Madness, we'll always accept this because it's our civic duty as basketball coaches of basketball players to normalize playing basketball as long as you can. Because that's what we get paid to do nowadays. This is our job. My wife can't just wake up someday and be like, you know what? I'm going to opt out of teaching today. This is what we need to normalize. And this NIT field is outstanding. It is like mid-major madness, and I love it. Kudos to Auburn for accepting the bid. That's outstanding. All right. Auburn and Stephen Pearl trying to go win an NIT. It's very, very interesting. But that was from Kev. That was from his name is Sundance Wicks, the head coach at Wyoming. I wish I was Sundance Mosley.
Not all college programs and coaches are secure enough in their job to put their job sort of on the line for the NIT.
Oh, did Indiana turn it down?
Indiana decided that they are not going to play in any other postseason tournament. Yes.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. Interesting, exactly.
Do we have the crown? Has the crown been announced later today? Have we heard yet?
I think somebody said 4:30 is the announcement. There you go.
I want the crown. I want to find out when the crown is. On FS1, the crown, I just don't know if it's Central Time or Eastern Time.
I don't know.
All right, we got a college basketball crown tournament. Okay, let's see. Oh, dang it. I was going to go to the bottom of, hold on here. Sikkim, NIT. Okay. All right, I was just looking to make sure Sikkim hadn't put something up. By the way, it says, okay. Oh, wait. Somebody says, all right, NIT. I was just looking at the NIT bracket. All right, Kev, let's do some campus confidential, and right. Let's work through some of this college basketball. What do you have for us?
All right. Do you agree with Miami of Ohio being in a first 4 game?
Thought it was somewhat disrespectful to start 31-0. It's not like teams were trying to play them. People they didn't have a non-conference. They got a couple of wins over teams that are in the tournament. Obviously the MAC ended up getting 2 bids. WCC ends up getting 3 bids. And so some of these mid-majors, you got a couple more in than you thought. Did that keep poor old Auburn or OU or somebody 19-15 or 17-16 out? Sure, whatever. Nobody cares. Nobody wanted to see Auburn in the NCAA tournament. Again, they had plenty of opportunities. What most of America likes this time of year is to see, especially in these first 2 rounds, if the little guy like Akron can knock out the big guy, like Texas Tech in that first round matchup. That's a 5-12 matchup. Miami of Ohio, the way they went about their season and the stunning amount of wins that they had, earned the right to not have to be in a play-in game. And unfortunately, I feel like the commentary out there influenced some of the committee in this one. I did like that the committee, that Keith Gill is that guy's name, Sunbelt commissioner, he clarified because somebody kind of insinuated that they were the last ones in, and he said they were not.
No.
SMU was the last team in. Now, once they get a team in, then you got to go and you got to bracket everybody. But he made sure to say that there were some other teams that got in after Miami of Ohio. I just believe they were good enough this season to be rewarded without having to play in a play-in game. Now, do I find it hilarious that University of Texas has to play in one? Yes. Poor old Shoppe Miller. I thought I had a funny line. I don't think the joke took off on Twitter. You just put them out there, Kev, and you see how they do. But I called that game between Will Wade and NC State and Sean Miller and University of Texas a show cause matchup. And I thought it was pretty good. It was fine. I mean, I got a decent reaction. But one time when HCU knocked out Texas, that night I had a joke, and I wish I could remember the joke, but it ended up doing about 200,000 views, the joke. But I can't really remember the joke. I had a good joke. I had a really good joke, and then I felt bad about it because somebody I had to quietly take it down. But when the insurrection happened, or whatever people call it, at the Capitol, a few years ago, 6, I had a good line about the Eagles. I tied it into the NFL because the Eagles had just done something, like they just either let another team win or something had happened, some big sports thing had happened. And I executed the joke, and the joke went crazy. Like, people loved the joke. But then somebody died in that thing, and I'm like, better take the joke down. You know what I mean? I didn't know people. Yeah. Okay, Kev, what do we have? What else do you have?
So you kind of made your opinion known on this. Do you think Oklahoma or Auburn should be in based on what they did, especially Oklahoma in the SEC tournament? Kind of coming up big in some spots, making it a little deep for what their seeding was. Auburn having the strength of schedule, the hard schedule that they did, and 3 or 4 really top tier wins.
I liked Oklahoma's resume more than Auburn's because Auburn just didn't, down the stretch, they had plenty of opportunities and they faded. Porter Mosier was down and out, on his way to being fired, looking awful, right? They were 1-8 or 1-9. And that sucker fought back, and he got his record to 7-11 in conference or something like that. So I respected the job Porter did more. I don't feel bad, really, for either one. The team I was actually rooting for in the SEC, although I'm not a huge Chris Beard fan for different reasons. I think he's a great basketball coach. But I love it when one of those random teams gets rolling in a tournament. And it took, who was it? Who were they up against? Was that Arkansas, or was that whoever? Somebody had to beat them in OT, 93-90 in the SEC tournament. Or Ole Miss would have been playing in the SEC championship.
Right. Yep.
And I love that. I was amazed, I think back on those great Eddie Sutton and Nolan Richardson teams, and pretty amazing deal that, Kev, that was Arkansas's only second tournament championship win since they went into the SEC. And think about how long ago that happened. That was like 92 or 93. Like, it's unbelievable. That was a long, long time ago. And they had one in, I think, 2000. And I cannot for the life of me think who was coaching. I guess I got to Google it. But I wasn't able to think of who was. Well, let's see. How long did Nolan stay there? Nolan was rolling and still going strong when I was in college until the mid 90s. So I bet Nolan stayed there until about 97 or 98. But anyway, Calipari, that's one of those be careful what you wish for, because now Kentucky, has one of their own. He's doing okay, not great. And Cal is inspiring. Arkansas loves him. And how many, the question would be, how many does he have? How many conference titles does he have? It's a staggering amount. Yeah. And then when you go to his previous Memphis and UMass and you put all his conference championship titles, I don't have it in front of me. It's a crazy amount.
Yeah.
I want to say, is it 20? But it's just a scary amount that Cal had. You know what? And that was a good move for everybody. Like, Kentucky fans were sick of him. Arkansas fans were excited to have him. And what's great about him, and think about it, he's now succeeded with a one and done when technically you couldn't pay players. He's now succeeding when you can pay players. And Pitino's the same way. Now, again, were those dudes cheating back in the day? I mean, sure. But I'm sorry. I mean, if you're saying, okay, who is the greatest coach in college basketball still at age 70, who's better than Rick Pitino? I mean, you can make an argument for Dan Hurley because he had the back-to-backs. Golden's on a heater right now. And Izzo, for just longevity, Izzo's the greatest in some ways because he never misses the tournament. Baylor's had this down year and it stinks, and there's a bunch of gnashing of teeth. That never happens to Izzo. Doesn't matter NIL. Doesn't matter this or that. Oh, they're down. They're this. They're that. I think 28 straight tournaments, something like that. Izzo never misses. What else do you have for me, sir?
Well, you brought up Pitino, and you've been rather undecided on St. John's. Did they prove anything to you by beating UConn?
When have I been rather undecided on St. John?
Every time we go through rankings, you're like, I don't know if they really know what to do with St. John's, and I don't know if I know what to do either.
Okay. Do I trust them? No. I trust the coach. I don't trust the players. Zuby is an awesome player, and here's what I got him doing. Here's the respect I have for them. I am going to take them through. I need to look at my bracket, need to kind of study and everything. I think I'm going to take them through out of respect for Pitino. I'm taking them through the Sweet 16. It's probably as far as I'll take them, because Pitino does something that most coaches don't do now. Pitino coaches so much defense, and he gets these things done without great three-point shooters. I'll tell you another team that kind of does that is Arizona. Now, Del Orso has come on strong, and Burries when he's hot, when he's on, he's on. But Arizona and St. John's are two really good teams that do not rely on the three. And I'll tell you the team that I usually have a great feel for, Kevin, and believe in, that this tournament I'm struggling with, is the U of H. like on one hand, they've got this incredible backcourt. You've got Kingston, Emmanuel Sharp, and Uzan. What's not to love? But their best teams, the teams I trust the most, have a guy they can throw it down low to and play off of. And they don't have it. Tugler, Sanak likes to stay outside and shoot, even though he's got a big body. He's a 7 foot or 6'10" guy. Tugler's a rebounder and defender. So there's two things they don't. They're not particularly great at knocking down threes as much as you would think. And for Houston, they're not particularly great on defense. Like Baylor was outplaying them for about 30 minutes in that game in Houston. I mean, they really were recently. I just don't know. I don't trust this Houston team as much as I do others. Now, that doesn't mean they don't have scores. They just don't have guys that get you the buckets down low. So if they're not hitting from outside, it's a team you don't know if you trust. I would say the only team of the 1 seeds that I have complete trust in right now, the Arizona Wildcats. I just don't. I mean, like Boozer, they have to put too much on him right now. He's great, but he needs a little more help than he's getting. You know, Michigan, and then who else am I missing, Kev? Who's my fourth number 1 seed?
You got Florida.
Duke. No, I did. Yeah, I said Duke. Florida was the team I was missing.
All right.
Last year, they did it. People forget this. They were great, and they won it all. But they had a young man named Walter Clayton Jr. who just bailed them out time after time. They could have gotten beat the second round. They could have gotten beat the next round. That was not a Florida straightforward path. There were teams along the way that really could have beaten them. Including University of Houston, including Texas Tech. But Walter Clayton Jr. kept bailing them out. Who is that player? And do they need him? But who is that player for Florida this year? They got a lot of great players. And they got so much size. Condon, but like Huff, or how do you say, Hout, Haugh. He's awesome. He's an awesome player. He's the player of the year in the SEC. But who is that shooter, guard, go get me a bucket when I have to have it? I'm still a little hazy on that with these guys. All right, Kev. Oh, my gosh. We've just rolled right to the end of the show. I knew today, because it's the Monday after, we would have a lot to say. Kevin, did you have any other thing you wanted to bounce off of me?
I got one last one for you for the landing. Did Vanderbilt get any of your respect beating Florida and making the SEC championship? Keeping in mind, that SEC championship could have easily been Vanderbilt and Ole Miss. How crazy is that?
What were you asking me, though? Do I have more respect for them now?
Did Vandy get any of your respect? Because that's been another one. But since they beat Florida, you're like, okay, yeah, maybe.
No, I like Vandy. Kevin accusing me of so much indecision today. I thought I was usually pretty direct. Don't trust them to go all the way. That's another. It's like the SEC has one great team and then a bunch of pretty good teams. Bunch of really, like Arkansas could go far because of Cal and Acuff. Like when I look at these teams, I go, okay, who has a great point guard? Well, it's Arkansas, but Arkansas has some other stuff. And maybe, by the way, with Florida, I'm not giving Boogie enough credit. They do have some players that could go get some things done. But with Arkansas, that Brazil made some plays the other day when they really needed him, he made some huge plays down the stretch, and that is how they pulled away from Vandy. All right, so I say Vandy total would not shock me if they made it to the Sweet 16, would not shock me if they got beat in the second round. Okay, I don't trust them. I trust Arkansas more than I trust them because Brazil can block shots, hit a three. He's what I would call, he's kind of like he's kind of reminds me of, oh gosh, who are those brothers in the NBA? Kevin, the twin brothers. One of them played for Milwaukee and may have won a NBA title for Milwaukee.
Giannis?
No, I know he has a brother. Sorry, twin brothers that are bigs, and they're both pretty good. But one of them can shoot threes,
right?
And he was on the team. He was on the anyway. Yeah. Brazil kind of reminds me. This guy's a good player. Why am I not? Anyway, he reminds me of that because he's very versatile. I really like Arkansas. I'm starting to fall in love with Arkansas, and that scares
Brooke
me.
and Robin Lopez.
The Lopez brothers, correct.
Yes. Brooke can shoot it from the outside.
Correct. Brooke's the one I was, And Robin, one of them kind of let the hair go pretty far. I think that might have been Robin. Robin spent a little time with the Blazers, maybe. Brooke got over there to the Bucks. Only other thing, Kevin, I'll end with today, the arrest for Alabama. Alabama's really good. It's another SEC team. I would say Alabama and Arkansas are right there together. This kid's name is Holloway, and he's their second best scorer for Alabama. He's good. He's smooth. I mean, he can hit big shots. He can get to his spots on the court. He can defend. It's a good player. Arrested on marijuana charges. I think they found about a pound of marijuana. If you don't think Nate Oates is going to look for a way to keep playing him during this, you don't know Nate Oates. I mean, my gosh, they may try to find that federal judge who helped Betty Ocko get back in there. But Holloway, he'll try to play him, but this is something to watch. That's a good Alabama team. This is either their second or third best player. He's a good player, and that would very much hurt them. It is the Mosley Show. That was the day after the brackets being announced. Really good. We'll have all that out there moving around. The Kevin Connors. I thought Kevin Connors was great. He is the SportsCenter host and from ESPN. He joined us today. We'll have another huge show for you tomorrow as we continue to break down the brackets. And we may even have an appearance soon, Kevin, from Dr. Brackets himself. All that coming up tomorrow on the Matt Mosley Show.
As part of Central National Bank's partnership with Baylor Women's Basketball, we ask Coach Collin to take a shot at improving the efficiency of our drive-thru.
The lane is open! Drive the lane! Attack the lane! Go! 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 Go!
We have a few kinks to work out.
Is this what you had in mind when you invited her?
No. I think you should say something to her.
Me?
Let's make Craig do it.
Okay, yeah.
You're gonna take this canister and you're gonna shoot it up.
Be all right. Be all right. Just be confident. Hey, Coach. Can I have a word with you?
Craig, not right now! I'm with a customer.
Okay.
Central National Bank, proud partner of Baylor Athletics and Baylor Women's Basketball.
Everybody at Equalife really has a passion and a real interest in helping people feel well. How much further can we go to get you feeling even better? It is a complete partnership between the two of us.
What if you could clean clean with bio-based formulas and deep cleaning enzymes?
No dyes, phthalates, or mystery ingredients. Just powerful pods for your dishes and laundry. Now you can, with drops made clean, made to clean.
It's not just a glove, it's a 44 Pro. Crafted with dedication, made for performance, and built to last. Get your custom glove today at 44pro.com and experience the 44 Pro difference. That's 44pro.com, 44 Pro.
It doesn't matter if your investment budget is small or big. All you need is Benzinga Pro and its powerful news alerts, price tracking, and portfolio monitoring. Subscribe now, and we'll skyrocket your portfolio today.
I am obsessed with helping business owners increase their traffic and turn it into profit through the power of Pinterest marketing. It's this amazing platform where people are looking for ideas, inspiration. They have a problem and they're actively looking for a solution.
It's hard to find supplements that work. No, thank you. Plant-based supplements made from the Earth's most powerful plants for your immune health, gut health, workouts, and more. Find out more at auraorganic.com.
Protect your online privacy with NordVPN. Browse securely, access content from anywhere, and keep your data safe with military-grade encryption. NordVPN.com. That's NORDVPN.com.